friends, Goddess of Awesome here, and today is Valentine's Day 2018. And what more appropriate day to speak about the topic we're going to cover today, which is cold beds. Now, it may seem like it's not a topic worth talking about, but it really is, because there's kind of an epidemic happening out there in long-term relationships where their beds eventually cool down almost to the point where it could even be stone cold, like nothing is happening at home, you know? So those poor boys, these are the men who live in quiet pain, quiet desperation, quiet hurt, right? They hurt on some level because they're not being loved or touched. And yet they keep a tight lip, you know what I mean? Maybe some don't. Maybe some verbalize to their person that they need things. But I think if things don't come around, sometimes boys or men lose that initiative to keep on pursuing. You know, it's no fun to hunt game if there's no game to hunt. You know, and men are hunters by nature, and that's never going to change. Even if you're in a relationship, a long-term relationship, he still has that primal need to seek, to hunt, to conquer. And so as a female, we need to participate a little bit in that. We need to, you know, obviously we love our men. We don't want to play games, but we need to engage in some kind of dance. That's the best I can describe it. You know, a little bit of a playfulness, some energy exchange. It doesn't have to be in the bedroom. It can be subtle. It can just be putting your hand on his knee while he drives. You know, surprisingly enough, I mean, that sounds silly. A lot of you girls say, gosh, I do that already. Listen, there's a lot of girls who don't, you know. There's a lot of men out there who never get touched. I mean, not even in the smallest bit from their chosen mate. So these beds go cold, and these men have no one to confide in. They have no one to talk to. You know, they don't talk to their buddies about stuff like this. A topic like this is too intimate. Maybe some guys share things, but most don't, okay? I think women are more likely to share things with a trusted confidant more than a man. You know, even his best buddies, some guys are never going to open up to and share his sexual grievances or relationship grievances or any kind of grievance, right? I mean, men are strong, right? They're supposed to be strong, and they save face. They grin and bear it, you know? They just bear down. And so this is where the adult industry gets attention, right? People who don't get it at home, have some kind of lack at home, they still have needs, and they go, you know, some of them seek, you know. Not every person seeks a full service girl. So, you know, hand jobs actually are a fabulous way to get the job done. And I think most guys don't really feel a lot of guilt with a hand job. Now, let me tell you, they still feel some of them, not all. Some of these great guys do feel guilty getting a hand job when he knows you're at home. You know, he honestly would rather have it from you, you know, but because for whatever reason it's a sensitive topic and something, maybe a subject that doesn't get addressed in a full, complete conversation, you know, he's at a loss. He doesn't know how to approach you. He doesn't want to piss you off. Trust me, he doesn't, you know, and so it's this delicate little dance, or he's almost on a tightrope when he's around you like that. You know, when he's in this position, he's balancing on a tightrope. You know, he doesn't want to offend you, but also he has his needs. He can't deny them. It's a strong current in a man. It occupies a lot of his mind. When a man is, what's the word I'm looking for? If he hasn't released regularly, if he's pent up, his mind goes frizzle frazzle. It's just biology. Like, it's too much in the mind. So what he needs to do is release this energy so he can come back down to earth. You know what I mean? So he can be grounded again. The moment, and this isn't news to people, the moment a man has an orgasm, boy, does his mind think clear, right? I mean, the pipes are clean, like he can focus on work now, he can focus on family, he can focus on the task at hand. When he has all this unsettled, pent-up energy, it's too much. The vibration of that is very distracting, and he cannot focus on what he needs to do. So it's a fabulous thing that central massage therapists exist, and that a gentleman can go receive a bodywork session and have it include that. Now, not every man out there requires a full body massage, right? Some men can definitely go receive a strictly therapeutic massage from a fabulous massage therapist wearing clothes and feel great afterwards and be restored and ready to go take on the world again. Some men can do that, but I'm going to put it out there that I think most men, in order for their mind to completely relax, they need that release, right? It's like peanut butter and jelly. It just goes together. And I don't think there should be any judgment on them for that. They are male species, and just because they're a human being doesn't take away the idea that they are still hardwired for being a male, you know? And if you look out in nature at any male, any species, and you look at the male's designed to spread his seed, right? There's a innate drive. There's this current in him that he can't explain, or maybe even can't even understand, because it's so part of who he is as a male, right? So I think as females, if we can understand that we have a man here, yes, he has sensitivities and he has a mind and he has rational thinking, but deep down inside, as all of us are, we're animals, right? We're human beings, but we're also animals. And so you can't have an animal of any kind and not meet all its needs. The animal will go stir crazy, or it's not going to be healthy. Its health is going to decline mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. There's so much that happens when these small little basic needs aren't met. And, I'm not married. I've never been married. I've never been divorced. I've never had any children. I have had a few long-term relationships, maybe 3 or, good 3 probably, and then some brief ones in between. So, what do I know about a bed going cold? My 3-year-long relationship, I definitely experienced some cold bed stuff happening. I think when you get familiar with one another, you kind of get a little comfortable. You don't try to court that person anymore. And here's the thing. We should always be courted. Courting should never quit. Courting is the dance. And it goes both ways. Females can court their male. And definitely a female enjoys to be courted by a man. But just because the man is courting the female doesn't mean she's not courting him back, And I think for a long-term relationship to thrive, I should say, I think courtship needs to be included always, So some of the healthier relationships that I have heard of, clients that come see me, whose wives know they come see me, and one in particular, they take Friday for themselves. They have their whole marriage. Grandparents don't live too far, they're parents, so they take the kids to the grandparents. Every Friday, those kids get to hang out with grandma and grandpa, and every Friday, he and she, the mother and father, have a date night, And I think that's so important, to preserve time for you to, cherish each other, relish in one another, enjoy each other's company, stop talking about money and bills and actually be real people. We're here to be real people. We're not here to work forever and only pay bills. Like, who wants to live if that's all we're supposed to do, right? We're supposed to savor and taste and experience and feel and breathe and get out there and, get all the goodness that life has to offer. So when your bed goes cold, I can only imagine that some indifference might appear. right? Your partner may not be as attentive in the hearing, the listening skills. They may not be attentive in other ways. They may only do a half-assed job because they're not inspired, and girls, I'm not trying to say that we need to be subservient sex slaves to our men. I am not saying that. There is a quid pro quo somewhere in there, right? Like, we take care of them. He needs to take care of us too, but we need to do is verbalize that. And if the verbalizing doesn't happen, then we demonstrate with our actions, because sometimes men don't hear words, but they always notice our actions, so again, they're an animal. So not that we need to treat them like an animal, but there are some training little techniques here and there that they're so subtle, you really can't even let them know that you're kind of training them. But we need to train them. I told my grandma before she died, here I am I'm 30 at that point. I think she died when I was 31. And I told her around 29, because I swing dance. I'm a swing dancer. And I used to go out all the time, and I told her, I said, Grandma, I said, I don't know if I even want a man. Like, at this point in the game, I'm going to have to train him and all the frustrations of that. And boy, everything about her just stopped. And she gave me the most dirtiest look. I've never seen her look that way before. And with this look of just almost disgust and pity for me thinking that way, she said to me, you are always training your man. Okay? Now, man, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I mean, it's a two-way street, right? But how are you supposed to know what we need and want if we don't tell you? You know what I mean? And if you don't get it right the first time, maybe we tell you again. Nobody wants to tell things a lot, right? No one wants to have to say it over and over and over and over again. And you make us feel like a nag. You think we're a nag. That's not good. People's ears close down when there's too much garbage, right, being said, or when the voices elevate into a higher tone, when you're almost yelling. People don't hear when that happens. People shut down, So the trick is how do we stay open? How do we not close down when we have to talk about such sensitive subjects? Because I imagine most every woman out there, we want to keep our men, right? We're not trying just to have them for a minute or a couple years or 5 years or just a decade and toss them out and go get another one. Some might, and that's awesome if that's your thing. Be true to you, But most women, we want to keep our man, I want to say most men want to keep their woman too. They don't want to, the game, as much as it's fun, it's tough. It's tough going out there finding someone who relates with you and is connected with you and compatible and, has similar life drive, similar goals. That's hard to find someone who matches you on so many levels. And so when you find someone who does that, to be able to preserve it and be conscious and be aware, and I know life happens and it's so easy to forget, So cold beds definitely is an epidemic. I have heard so many grievances across the board from so many gentlemen. Now let me just tell you really quick, I'm a traveling massage therapist, meaning that I've been all over the nation with this work. I have covered so far 36 states and 58 cities. As much as that sounds like it's a lot, it's not. And from those 36 states and 58 cities, I have heard common threads across the board of this epidemic, this cold bed. And these guys are so, they just don't know what to do. They don't want to make us mad. They want to approach it. They want to talk about it. They know you're busy doing what you're doing, so they're trying to find a time that, maybe would be a good time to reach you. And if they do say it and it's not met with good, receptivity, then boy, they just don't want to open up again, because that's scary. Like, first, they don't want to piss you off. They also don't want to hurt your feelings, but they themselves somewhere are hurting if they're coming to you, telling you that they feel left out or a little neglected, or that they could use some attention, So, again, I'm not saying we're being sex slaves to our men, okay? No subservientness here, But in the dance of the man and the woman, that flow you know, we're here to nurture each other, right? So he nurtures us. However that happens, each individual relationship is going to be different, right? But we nurture him back. There needs to be that kind of conversation of how do we nurture one another? How do we keep the full circle going? Because no one wants to just give and never receive. Because I think that happens a lot. I don't know what goes on with us, but a lot of givers, we end up with takers. I don't know how that happens. But what we need to be is with givers. We need to be with the giver. I think everybody can be a giver if they're inspired to be. So as long as you're receiving and they're receiving, everybody's happy. And the trick is to be able to receive this from your partner without them asking. That's the big thing. You know, we need to be able to read them, right? We need to have our senses available so we can feel things. If there's anything in the ether, if there's any vibrations out there, we need to feel them or be, you know, have our little antennas aware and see if anything like that is going on. And if so, let's address it, right? Because the last thing we want him is feeling unloved. We don't want to feel unloved. We don't want to do too much and not get anything back, right? Because that's not fair. I'm down for equality. So what we need to do as women is express to our men what we need, and also let them know what we need, what might turn us on. Like, hey, but you know, it really makes me happy when you help me with the groceries. Like, that kind of stirs me up a little bit. You know what I mean? And it could, you know, for some chicks, like, it depends. What is it that you enjoy? Is there something from your man that you enjoy? Is there something he does that kind of, you know, is it fixing things around the house? Does that get you going? Because that's really manly. You know, every girl wants a man who can use a screwdriver and a hammer. You know, like, you know, we're chicks. We're good with sponges. I mean, we can do screwdrivers too. Like, chicks, we can do it all. But we're women, and we kind of want to feel like a girl, so we don't want to have to wear pants all the time either, you know. So again, this is something for each couple to evaluate, and on an individual level, evaluate your own self. Like, what are you willing to give and what are you willing not to give, and you know, what can we do to make sure everybody's in harmony and everybody's getting what they need? You know, I think a lot of girls, I'm gonna try to wrap this up fast. A lot of girls, you know, we think that our man just needs sex, that's what he wants and that's what he needs and that's what's going to get him happy. But the truth is, and I know it's a chore for some girls don't like it. Some girls don't have a lot of moisture down there because of certain things, biological stuff or health issues or, you know, you name it. So with our men, I lost my track of thought. It's going to come back. So with our men, with their cold beds, and them calling girls like myself to help them, most of them would much rather not do that. Most of them would much rather go see he wants it from his girl. But if his girl's not giving it to him, he will be that animal, that primal instinct will come out, and he will go satisfy that deep need, you know? So, ladies, I just want to suggest, or just put it out there delicately as possible, that you don't have to have sex with your man to make him happy. Of course he wants that. He craves it and he needs that intimacy. But intimacy of any nature is good. Like, intimacy of any nature is better than no intimacy at all. You know what I mean? Like, some girls don't like giving blowjobs. I totally understand that and respect it. Some men can't understand that. You know, some boys need to ask their wives for a blowjob because she'll never give it to him if he doesn't ask, you know? Do you know how much that probably hurts him every time to have to ask? Like, you know, he's not trying to drain you, but also he has his needs too, you know? So, you know, if you're not into having sex, or maybe you can't, if you're not into the blowjob, you know, at the very least, your man will settle for a hand job, right? Like, he'll be thrilled. A hand job is way better than nothing. You know what I mean? So, you know, you may not want anything sexual in return. Maybe you just want a straight up body massage with no sexual energy in it. I get that. You know, that's something you'll need to convey to your man. Maybe you would rather have something done at the house, or maybe you want to stack some chips to go on a trip. You know what I mean? Like, whatever it is that you want, the quickest path to get there is working on your man this way, because when he's happy and his needs are met, he's gonna want to make you happy, right? The healthy ones, the healthy men, when their needs are met, they're like, yeah, I'm gonna stir my woman up. I'm gonna go, I just made some great money this week. I'm gonna send her to get her hair done, or you know, maybe he'll bring you some flowers, or you know, maybe he'll give you a hand massage or a shoulder massage you weren't expecting. You know, all those little unexpected gestures of affection, that's the dance. That's the ebb and flow. You know, that's what keeps it interesting. You know, so you need to have surprising moments that are good. You know, in this day and age, there's a lot to deal with. So people can definitely deal with the negative and get absorbed into it and focused on it. And then your playfulness goes away, and your lightheartedness goes away, and your zest and zeal for life kind of fades. And you become mundane, right? You just get into this regular, rhythm of existing, you know? So we got to liven it up and make sure that we're always living, you know? And how you can do that is, you know, try to be a little playful here and there. And I'm not saying like playful you need to overdo. I mean, just be lighthearted about some things. Like, it's so easy to be so serious about some topics. And some topics definitely are serious, and they should be given that credit. And we should talk about some things, you know, with a lot of respect. But there's also moments where it's time to lighten up a little bit, right? And that lightness, that airy lightness is like the most beautiful magnet that you can have that would draw your man in, right? Because deep down inside of him is a little child who wants to play. And if you have that lightness, you know, that you're on the edge of that playfulness, that he doesn't know what's going to happen next kind of thing, you know, you could go this way or that way, and it could be a curveball. I mean, he loves not knowing. You know, he needs to not know. He needs to wonder about, what's going to happen next? I'm not sure. You know, that's why boys test us. They test us all the time. Girls in relationships, you all know this. You know, a man, sometimes he'll do things just to see how you react. He has no intention on doing whatever he said, or he just wants to see what you're going to do. You know, are you going to blow up? Are you going to be cool? Are you going to cry? What's going to happen? Like, sometimes he just needs to test those perimeters, and that's innate. That's in him. Every man is going to test perimeters all day long. That's what they do. They're hardwired for that also. So we need to be aware when that kind of happens, and we need to know how to shut it down gently, playfully. Sometimes you gotta be firm, but you can still make the lightness can still be there. That airy carefreeness can still be there, even though you shut it down, you know? So it's a delicate balance. So getting back into the cold bed epidemic, yeah. Ladies, if you want to keep your man forever, find something that you need that he can help you with, that you would find it be in an equal exchange of some nature. Okay, I'm not limiting this because it's unlimited. Whatever it is that you need from any bracket of life, you know? If he can help you with that, and keep that flow going, then, and if all he requires is a happy ending, you know, some kind of release, you know, of course he's gonna want your mouth, of course he's gonna want your hot little sweet sacred spot. But if all the energy you have to spend right now is just with your hands, I would just make a little sacred moment where you gift him a little feathery kind of, feather him down with your fingertips and then give him his gift, you know, and you will find this man just spring in his step. Guys, when their needs are met, boy, do they want to be the man. They want to be that provider. They want to satisfy his woman on every level. They want to take care of the kids. They do really, truly, deep down inside, they do want these things. It's our job to help keep them motivated, right? And, you know, the motivation isn't always going to be the same. Life, we need variety. So there's different things, you know, that we may not want the same thing every time that he's going to get his hand job, but if there's something you need to express it, because he's not a mind reader. He's a man, and we need to dial direct sometimes. Sometimes they need to dial direct with us too, but we really do. And we don't have to be harsh. We don't have to be crass. We don't have to make them feel like a little boy, because that's not going to get anything. We don't need to be their mother. That's what we don't need to be. A man does not want to have sex with his mom. Probably most every man. There's always an exception to a rule, but I'm going to say every man probably doesn't want to do that. So don't be his mom. You know what I mean? You gotta, and it's a lot of work and talent to remain the lover. You know, we want him to pursue us. We want him to fantasize about us. We want him to thirst for us. But he won't do that if we become his mom. So there is this, again, it's such a delicate balance. So with the idea of cold beds, and I plan on helping you with this. I know most girls don't know where to start with the hand job, right? It seems inevitable. I'm going to have to start doing some hand job videos. I'm just going to have to. I'm going to have to show you all how to start it, the middle, the end, and each person is so different. You know what I mean? There's such a variety of techniques you can use on each person. Each moment is different. So there's a lot to be shared. So that's coming. I have a website launching here in the next month or so you'll be able to access some of that. I will not YouTube those, okay? But in closing, I just want to say that keeping your man is an art. For men to keep his woman happy is an art. And there needs to be communication, obviously, which is so difficult for so many people sometimes. But if we don't tell them what we need, they'll never know. And as a woman, you can almost just anticipate what he's going to need because he is a man. He's a male, you know, and it's just, it makes them healthier for them to release this. And their minds are better, their behaviors are better. Everything is better when that is maintained, you know? So how often should you maintain him? Well, I'm going to say no less than once a month, right? Once a month is a huge stretch for lots of chicks. Lots of chicks probably can't do once a month. But maybe you could just think about it, you know? Just the thought opens up a space sometimes, you know? And if you really want your man to be happy, though, I mean, like, if you really want to put a spring in his step and motivate him to help you better, I would recommend one hand job a week, right? One hand job a week. But if that's too much for you, go with every other week, you know? If you really want your man to move mountains for you, and trust me, he'll be inspired to do that, girl, if you give him a hand job like twice a week, wow, like he'll be so happy. And also too, he'll know that he has the best chick in the world. Like his eyes really, you know, he wouldn't have a wandering eye. And if he's a smart man, he wouldn't have a wandering eye, because who is that cool? You know, so few women who understand things like that. So anyways, I'm sure I will address this topic again, but I wanted to say happy Valentine's Day, and I wish you all the very best, and please stay tuned. I am the Goddess of Awesome. Happy Valentine's Day.